Good day, boaters. The weather's getting nice. Please don't forget my used outboard motor buying guide is on sale now on Amazon for $20. For a limited time, I'm offering a free half-hour session over the phone to help you with a boat or a motor. John, it was great helping you. Billy, it was great helping you too. Carl, I hope you got your motor running. I didn't hear back from you, but let me know if I can help with anything. Send me an email at keith@outboarddad.com with proof of purchase, and I'm offering a free half-an-hour session over the phone for a limited time. This book can help you save thousands of dollars on your next purchase. We want to continue on with Brett's boat, beautiful family boat here, 13-foot Boston Whaler. We want to go through all the functions of this boat. As we know, we need a steering cable. We're going to get the number off the steering cable and then call a local place, see who has it in stock, maybe look online, see if we can get a better price. Brett wants to put a plate here inside where the transom is. Now they do make bars that go across, which also help with strength, but actually a plate across the whole thing actually gives you more strength, support across the whole thing. So we're going to price that out. I have a sheet metal guy that I've used for years in the heating and air conditioning business, and he has aluminum plates that he can cut, and I can give him a size. Let's see how much he wants for it. If it's too much, we'll talk with Brett about it to see what works best. We're also going to hook up our battery and start going through some electric. I see some navigation lights on the bow maybe. We'll see how this functions. Actually, it'd be a good idea. We'll come out here in the dark one night and turn it on. First, we'll make sure it works electrically. And I'm not seeing a bow light. Looks like they have one here, and that's what this plug is for. So I don't see one kicking around here. So we'll simply check voltage here. We'll also look at the plug. It looks a little bit corroded. They might want to do something different here. I don't know. But I'm assuming they have that bar that goes up that has the stern light on it. But we can turn the switch on and check power here. So we're going to go through that. We're going to go through our bilge pump. It has a bilge pump separately here that clips down inside. I'm going to clean that out a little bit. We've got some leaves and stuff in there with the wind blowing around, and make sure that everything functions. What else can we check? Well, Brett forgot to leave the key with us, so I'll have to shoot him a text because we won't be able to check the ignition, but it worked with the old motor, so it should be fine with the new one. And fuel lines. We want to trace that fuel line. We're going to cut all of this tubing off that's protecting everything and open it all up, inspect that wiring really good. I'm not going to go too crazy because I want the kids to do that when we do a little seminar with them, and we'll do that steering cable together with them as well. Want to get underneath that dash there and look at all the wiring connections. They're all exposed, which makes it easy to get to, but also makes it more prone to corrosion. So maybe we're going to get some white lithium spray out when we have the kids here and show them how to protect all those connections and wiring to make sure everything's okay, especially our switches. So I guess first I'm going to get the number off the steering cable and record that. Then we'll hook up a battery and turn some switches on and see what happens. All right, we're going to inspect our battery cable first. It is heavy duty, like this is for like a 250 horse motor, which is, hey, that's even better. We're going to hook up a battery to it and we're going to check our ohms. We know everything cranked okay, but we're going to see if we have any ohms, if we have any resistance through this cable. I kind of doubt it because it looks pretty good. We're also going to trace around and make sure, see it's not pinched anywhere or cut in any place as we go through this wiring and the fuel hose. As you can see, I've cut the tape that's been wrapped this up, and you can also see that the ignition wire harness, they looped it here so they would have some more room and just covered it up in our black hose. They have the larger one in the back, this one's in the front. So I'm going to go ahead and continue to take the rest of this off. This way we can expose everything. But while I'm doing it, I'm making sure I'm noting that yes, I have a plug here that I'm going to assume is for my transom light. And I have some other wires here. I want to know where they go. That one goes to a light. This one goes down to my bilge pump. And that's probably about it. It's pretty straightforward. I do have some other ignition harness wiring here. That's probably tachometer and some lighting for gauges if they had gauges. So what we want to do is, if this is not going to be used, we simply want to just clean these up and lubricate them. This way, if they do ever decide to use some gauges or anything, they can certainly use them maybe later. This one you see has a plug in it, which probably protected it, but we want to protect these, make them last as long as we can. Then we're going to kind of neaten this stuff up a little bit, see if there's a better way we can run all this. But looks like that's the way they do things with these boats, and of course it's up to the owner. So we'll go ahead and cut this off and we'll expose the rest of these wires and hook up our battery and see what works. So now we have that plastic removed. I still see they have like a little protector here on the fuel line. It looks to be in pretty good shape. I don't see any problems with that. But as I see some other wiring here, it looks like this goes up to our bow light, kind of tucks in underneath here, not too fancy. And then we have some screws here on a plate. And when I look underneath, I see my steering cable where it connects. So I want to disconnect it because there's no numbers back where the motor is. So I want to loosen that nut. I'm going to pray, make sure we can loosen that nut. If I can get that cable out of here, I'm hoping there's some markings on it with the size. Otherwise, we'll just lay it out flat and measure it. As you can see, this is kind of a jumbled mess under here. So we're going to have to go through this. I see a little fuse over here. So we're going to have to go through this and also check all these wiring connections. I see another light over here, so it looks like they got some running lights too. And we want to make sure everything's okay and nothing is shorted out. Have our steering cable out now, so I can get a measurement of it. This way I know when I get the new one, I can make sure it's okay. This is frozen really good. I can't even move it by hand. And of course the steering wheel spins freely. So we did take those metal plates off. That's how we were able to get this up so we could get the cable out. So it looks like this got broken at one point, or they just broke it or had it split there so that they could get their cables in and out when they needed to. And obviously you're going to find this over the years. There's some stuff that's makeshift on here. Obviously this was not mounted like this originally. It maybe just had a tiller on it originally, who knows, and somebody made this up, or maybe they bought it from somebody and it already had the split in it. So we took that out. We were able to get our cable out, and of course the helm will have to come out of there as well, but we'll do that when Brett and the family come. Let's hook up that battery and see what works and what doesn't. And I think what we'll do is we'll do a little bit of research. We'll find out exactly what Brett wants to have on the boat. Obviously you have to have navigation lights. We have to make sure all that is functioning. We have to have some running lights because they may go out late at night, and it's a good idea. There's some LED lights here. Maybe we'll hook just the lights up to 12 volts to see if the lights themselves come on, and maybe we can save some of those. Same thing with the wiring that goes up to the bow light. Rather than replacing everything, which is not a bad idea on an older boat, it may just quit working at one point. Rather than doing that, maybe we'll hook up a battery to it just to see if it works. But we don't want to go too crazy because we don't want to invest all kinds of time and find out we should have just started over. Not a lot here to power. We have to have a bilge pump. It's mandatory. Have to have a horn, but they can also have an air horn, so they don't necessarily have to have a horn. I don't even know if there's a horn underneath there anywhere. So that's going to be what we're going to talk to Brett about next, and then we're going to have Zoe and Kyan come over. We're going to change that steering cable together and that helm. We're going to get into some of this wiring a little bit, not too crazy, because that's really all we're going to be able to have the time to do, other than we're going to take the old motor, drop that lower unit, and show them what it takes to change a water pump, see what the thermostat looks like on that older motor, and use that as a teaching tool. We'll probably end up removing the power head. I'm going to assume the bolts are going to break at its age and corrosion. Anything is possible, but we're going to save that power head because I went ahead and looked up the parts blow up, and the power head will mount on their new motor. So listen, their new motor they bought, they didn't run it out on the water. Marina guy had it for sale. I found it on Facebook Marketplace, let Brett know about it. I went up to take a look at it. Nice clean motor. You can watch the video on the Yamaha 40 horsepower that I have. Fired it up. Everything seems great, but it's a whole different story when you get on the water. So we've done all the due diligence that we can, but just in case, I make sure I try and recommend that people buy the same motor. If their motor's running, his motor was running great. It's the lower unit issue and the midsection that was corroded away. So we're going to see if we can save that power head, and then we can wrap it up. We'll probably winterize it. We'll probably make sure we get some good fogging oil in the carburetors, flush them out, make sure there's no fuel left in there, so no water from the ethanol is going to be absorbed into that can cause damage as it sits, in his shed. Maybe he'll never use it, which would be a wonderful thing that the new one runs great. And that's what we're hoping for. I'm sure we'll have that. All right, we hooked up our battery. Looks like we got some action. Turn on our bilge pump. Bilge pump comes on. Navigation lights would go up front. We'll check. A little sunny out, but yep, navigation light came on. That's a little cloudy. You might want to think about changing that. Let's go ahead and check this plug here. We'll get my meter out and make sure we got 12 volts. I bet we do. And what else do we have here? We have some accessories, courtesy, horn. I don't hear anything. I hear something making noise, so there might be a horn in the back, but I don't see any of the other running lights that are coming on. So it may be because of this fuse here, because that fuse is bad inside here. Of course, that might feed our fish finder too. So looks like we got some action to start with. Well, we got some stuff that's working, some stuff that's not. But we're going to kind of look at this a little deeper with when the kids come over, and then they'll have to decide, do they want to go ahead and just get a new fuse panel with new switches? Although everything is functioning, they're kind of old. Looks like maybe they didn't cover this up for the winter at one point, or maybe it sat in the sun for a while. So it's always a good idea to cover up your boat just to keep the sun damage and weather from damaging everything. And I want to see what those electrical connections look like underneath. So we'll do that when we get Zoe and Kyan out here, and we'll go ahead and check this boat out further, and we'll get deeper into the electrical. We'll get that steering cable changed out, and we'll see how far we want to go with those switches, and or maybe just replace them and start over. So it's not a bad idea to do that, especially when your wires get a little old. They can get corroded inside that you can't really see them. Of course, just because it's working doesn't mean it's going to work long term. So that's up to them to see how far they want to go. And I can't wait to get them out here, and we'll continue on. So please like, subscribe, send me any comments that you have, and we look forward to seeing you to finish this project and get her out on the water. Have a great day.